Hello YouTube, this is Vacuum Man 8 today. Spring is in the air and the clocks are gone forward. So I think it's time for a bit of a spring clean over the Easter period. So before we get on with Vintage Week, I'm just going to have a little chat about my views on the new Dyson vacuum that's just come out. And so basically, if you've had your head in the sand or you've not read anything, Dyson have just recently updated their V11 range again. So it's now called, it's a very similar machine to this one, but it's called a V15 Detect, isn't it? So am I actually going to probably run out and buy one straight away? Well, at the moment I've had this V11 for about 18 months. I feel that this one is fine for what I've got in my house. So for me personally, I'm not going to run out and buy a V15 Detect.
Yeah, I want one.
But Carl, being a bit of a collector of vacuums, I suppose it will be on the wants list. So yeah, so what's the main difference between the V11 and the V15? Well, it is practically looks the same as what we've got here. It's got the same sort of trigger, the bin is the same, the pole is the same. The main difference, which Dyson generally do, is they improve and tweak various parts of the machine. So the main difference is the floor head is slightly different, isn't it? It's got combs on it for longer hair to help comb out the hair off the bristles. Don't generally find a lot of problem with these in general because they've got quite soft bristles on them, aren't they? A lot softer than a lot of the other machines. The other main difference as well is the information that you get on it. This one here will give you on the back of the machine a time indication, a power indicator. This one here, they've basically got something that counts the amount of dirt that you suck off your carpets or off your floors or off your sides. So it just gives you some sort of information. So if you've ever come across, say, a Dyson fan or they call air purifier, which we've got, it basically tells you what's actually the climate of the air in your house.
That's the Omni Drive.
Yeah. So this one here basically gives you the information on what is actually it's sucked up on your actual use. I don't think it saves the information. I suppose it probably resets itself after a while. But you know, it's something else, and also it's supposed to detect. Oh yeah, it also detects the dust and the dirt, and it's supposed to boost up. And the other main difference as well, it has slightly more power on the boost mode. I think this one has 185 air watts. So this one, the new one, will have 230. And looking at some of the videos, if you've got like a plush carpet or very thick pole, it doesn't really drive and it just shuts off. But you know, who knows if this thing breaks. I mean, I'm looking at personally getting, I mean, I've had this one for 3 years now and it's still running quite well. And this one I've had for 18 months. I'm not really due another vacuum for at least a year, I'd say, generally. You know, it'd be interesting. I mean, we're actually looking forward to going that down to Curry's, aren't we? Because currently at the time we did the video, there was like, it's released in the USA. Cole's excited about it. But in general...
looks like the hair tangle thing don't work that good.
Oh, doesn't it? There you go. So, I think they've just sort of like held back our release because one, we're in lockdown still, so there's no real shops that are open where you can actually demo it. So you can't put it in this nice posh shop in London and do a big thing about it. And two, we've got Brexit, and I suppose supplies, all the rules have changed for importing, and I think you say these are actually made in Malaysia, so they're actually all imported from another country anyway. So I think that's the main reason why we haven't got it in the UK. But it'd be interesting to see, wouldn't it, mate?
I think those are the new ones that are actually made in the UK.
Well, mate, no, I don't think they are. I think they're still made in Malaysia, mate. So, yeah, so this one's been pretty good. There's a couple of little gripes I've had with it.
Probably designed in the USA.
The interesting thing is as well is the filter. They've only actually, even on the V15 Detect, you only get one filter. Now the V10, they updated it with 2 filters. I think they really should have, I mean, really, they could have, you know, for another 20 quid on the top, say, they could have actually given you 2 sets of filters for the thing. Because these filters aren't cheap to buy.
But I think it does come with an extra battery.
I don't think it does.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It comes with 2 chargers too.
So one of the gripes with this one is firstly particles, or if you suck at anything too large like paper, anything that doesn't bend, they get trapped there, and then you literally got to strip the machine down. And I mean, that is an issue. Like this particular design here is nothing new, because they had this on the DC50 and then they just you know, they got rid of the design. So the tube, it comes up through here and up through a right angle and gets clogged up quite easily. So if you were sucking up fluff, possibly like clumps of dog hair, I should imagine, would probably get clogged as well. So the way that you actually have to put it on the boost mode, if you don't want to actually take it apart, to actually clear it out. And I'll do it quite often. You know, there's a sweet paper on the floor, I'll suck it up. Nothing too massive, but it does get caught in it.
My V11, I couldn't even, I turned it on max, I couldn't even freaking hard
Yeah,
lock it.
and then you basically got to get a very long screwdriver.
Unless you try to push it back down and have to keep sucking
Yeah.
some more stuff into it, and it just keep on blocking.
So what I've got like a 30 centimetre length screwdriver I stick down there to clear it out. So that's one gripe. The other gripe with it as well is the floor head, not this one, but the fluffy head, doesn't really fit under many furniture. Now, in like the Chinese market, they had the smaller version, and I think they made the slim, didn't they? So they've actually finally brought the slim to the UK and US market. And it's supposed to have it's got basically a light on it, which is supposed to light the path. It says it's a laser, but it's just a green light, sort of, so you can see it to the edge of your actual carpet, you know, edge of your floors. But I suppose if you're going the other way around, then it's going to point the other way, isn't it? So it's only really going to work one way. Do you know what I mean? So it's not going to be suitable for it. You know, it's going to. So that's that bit. So overall, 2 years, it's been 18 months, been quite impressive. It. Like I say, I'm not going to fork out the money. Carl reckons, like that, it does come in 2 batteries in the US, which for $599, that's pretty good value, I think, really. I suppose they've actually clawed back some of their money through the V10 and the V11. That's what you find is, when you first buy a product, they're very expensive because it's development costs. And it's like with the uprights, these here are fairly cheap now, and they've basically got their money back for development now, and then they can reduce the costs of it, basically, because I suppose it's like it costs X amount of millions to actually develop these technologies. So this new one's got some sort of counter, and you know, I mean, you know, whatever floats your boat. But at the end of the day, I can't see it on the medium mode. It's not really going to vastly clean better than my other one. All it's going to do is say, oh, you've got, you know, 25,000 bed bugs in your carpet.
I think it does automatically boost the suction.
Yeah. So yeah, it does boost the suction. But then this
clean heads too.
But this one here boosts suction on carpets anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. I
can't see it being much more. Plus as well, the battery's been pretty good. I think as well, this battery's just starting to fade a little bit for me personally.
Mine's not fading yet.
No. So around 18 months or so, I mean, if it fades anymore, I'll be on the phone to Dyson.
I mean, the post only lasted 4 years, those Dyson, like 2 years, like 3 to 3 years, the post last.
Yeah.
For normal house.
Yeah. So, you know, if I can get 3 years out of it, I'll assess it. I think the batteries are £79 for these. But you know, the newer ones got the click-in ones that makes it easier. The problem with the click-in ones, they had problems with the click-in ones before, and they used to loosen up, didn't they? The contacts used to loosen. So the screws is, I personally think, the way to go with it.
I think the contact hurt this enough.
Yeah. So, as you know, it's, you know, spring is in the air and that, and we've decided that the house needs a bit of a spring clean. It is the time of year now in places here to make it look. It was a bit of a state here. We had, like, obviously it's just, you know, Cole just likes chucking stuff all over the floor, to be honest with you. So we're picking out a different vacuum. So the vacuum we picked today is quite an important one out of Cole's collection, actually. And we'll just get this one out and explain why. So this week, on Vintage Week, we've picked an Electrolux, believe it or not, which is... so the last one we used, I think, was the Hoover commercial. We skipped the cut. I think I skipped a week or so on the schedule because I thought, well, I'm going to be home for 2 weeks. The house is going to be very dirty, and spring is in the air. And I think, like, you know, we need something that we can up top clean. Having an upright is not going to be suitable for the job. So I picked a well-built 70s machine. Basic Electrolux were, they basically made better cylinder vacuums than Hoover, didn't they? It was Hoover upright and Electrolux for the cylinder machine. Now Electrolux has been around since 1910. They also acquired companies. They've been merged with companies. I mean, at one time Electrolux owned Flymo, didn't they, for a little while? I don't think they do now. So this electric
Sanitaire now.
Yeah, it's a Sanitaire. So I think Electrolux Germany is struggling now. In general, it's called a Eureka in the US, Sanitaire, and Electrolux, all under the same umbrella. So this machine is one of Carl's favourite machines. Actually, we haven't actually got that many Electrolux cylinders, but this is such a nice machine. You know, we thought we'd get this one out. It's a fantastic machine. There's not massive suction on one of these. You know, I suppose it's got a little bit more suction than the V11 has on normal standard cleaning mode. But it is ideal for up top cleaning. You know, cobwebs in the corners. I mean, you can't see no cobwebs in the house, but if you look closely and the light is right, you get them. You get the dirt and the dust in the corners. Like you say. So what we've decided, so this is actually a very important machine in Cole's collection, because this one paved the way to one of the machines that we haven't shown yet, but my words, it is, you'll never see one ever again, will you? Basically, we bought this one, and then about a few weeks later, the guy contacts us and just says, oh, I've got one of these, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I was like, no, I don't really want that, you know. And when I found out what it was, I thought, well, I'm going to have it now, don't we? Yeah. So we actually bought something else from the same seller going back 2-3 years ago. Yeah, so we're going to use this machine for the week. It is an absolute stunning machine. It screams out the 70s. You cannot get more 70s than the burnt orange and this vinyl style covering. It still looks really factory fresh, believe it or not. I can't remember when it was made exactly.
It does have one of those hooks on the back.
Does it? Oh yeah. So this one, normally they snap here. This one's in one nice one piece.
The old one snapped there. Because
it was stored away in a box for years and years and years. It's not really gone off colour. This one actually, I feel, is better, far better built than any Hoover cylinder vacuum that Carl's got in his collection. The closest thing we had to this one was the I can't remember, the 601, wasn't it, or the 501? Yeah, the Hoover one, the blue one, innit? And that one. So we're going to use something similar. I think this has got the same sort of power. Like I say, it's got good quality. It hasn't got a cord rewind.
Did you make a German model have a cord rewind?
They do, yeah. So this is the 302. I think this one's possibly made. I think it's actually not made in the UK. I think
it's one made in Germany or France.
It was made abroad, and then they actually had the factory in Luton. This cylinder machine would be the right machine to do an up top clean, spring clean, skirting boards. Can't really do it very well with a standard vacuum. We'll do a sandpaper test. We could possibly do a suction. We could we could probably do a suction test versus with this one, you know, just to see how much suction it has compared to the V11, the cordless machine. So we're going to be using this one for the week. You know, it's a rock bottom machine. It's well looked after.
I don't think his hoses perish.
Yeah, the hoses and so on still one good. So this is one of the features that Cole really loves with this. Is the butterfly tool.
Hose do smell.
Yeah.
Old dust.
So it is a 2-in-1 tool. Now there is actually a new equivalent to this one, isn't there? I'll just get the new equivalent to this. So there we have the new equivalent to the Electrolux butterfly tool, and this is possibly one of the worst tools that was ever invented for a vacuum. You get these
rubbish.
You get these on these very cheap hoovers, goblins, things like that, and basically it flicks out like that. So it's a crevice tool, and then it also makes into a dusting brush by flicking it out.
It's also kind of like a upholstery tool. It's got that little thing you just go like that. That's the upholstery tool.
Yeah.
There's a credit tool.
Yeah.
And here's a dusting brush.
So it has got a dusting brush built in as well.
Brush.
You know, when you put that to there, the difference is massive. You know, this here is what I call.
If you try and fit it onto it.
This is what I call 2-in-1 tool. In fact, I'm very surprised that I haven't really seen this style of tool for quite a while.
There, it fits.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen this tool for quite a while actually, and believe it or not, I'm very surprised that any manufacturers looked at this and thought, oh, we could make a newer version of this, because this actually would be a good tool to have.
I think maybe Vax made one once.
Did they?
Don't know. I mean, Besson made like a 3-in-1 tool.
Did Hoover have one though? Did Hoover have a...
Yeah, 2-in-1 tool. What's that? One of those Hoover cylinders. What
Yeah.
I got. What's great? Got the credit tool, the upholstery tool, which just slides out, and the dusting brush it just slides out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the Hoover version.
Yeah, so this is a fantastic tool. Obviously it's painting it, nobody's allowed, but it is, like say, you can do this.
And Electrolux probably don't own the rights for it anymore.
Flick it over, and you can do your. This is actually my favourite tool for dusting. The electrical stuff actually. Probably would possibly be alright for us TV as well. So as you can see, look, I've got a different suite of furniture now. Can't go too much into that, but basically my replacement one I had originally got cocked around with the lockdown and all this COVID crap, and I ended up waiting 5 months. I waited 5 months of this one, didn't I? So we've had this one for about 4 weeks. This recliner, I ain't gonna get too much stuff under here anymore. I think that
just blow up and you just blow all the dust out under
plus as well, you can recline these out and you can get in dead easy. Okay, yeah. So it's actually, I think it's a better for me in general, and it's a lot more comfortable.
The only good thing you do with your Netflix is to turn it to leaf blowers.
Yeah, so it's got a blower port on this one.
Yeah.
So you
have to take a filter.
So you got blower port on this one as well.
And
So
you can also like blow up. You can use like a leaf blower, blow up airbeds and all sorts.
Yeah, so it's very versatile, this one. So I'm going to use this one for the week. See how well it gets on. 502, lovely machine. You know, we've generally stuck with Hoovers this year. You know, we ain't going to see many more Electroluxes on Vintage Week because we haven't got that many in his collection to do.
Most of them don't sound right.
Nah, some of them need work to be done to them, really. I'm not too much into stripping an Electrolux motor down, because they're more like a shop vac style Henry motor, aren't they? They just
might just do it back in 97, just to knock off the casing.
Yeah, so they're a little bit harder to work on, but they're not impossible. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Vacuum Man 8. We're going to see how well this one gets on for the week. I'm going to be missing the upright, I should imagine, for the week. But I should imagine the up top cleaning, the little corners that needs to be done. You know, it's that time of year. It said the windows are open. We've got, you know, it is nice actually to have some dry weather in the UK. People are actually in a better moods in general. Oh, you're going to get that one out. So there's the blower port on it. And that slips into there.
And now you've done that, you like sniff blower.
Yeah.
You can just use it like this.
You can use it as an air dryer as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, electric hair dryer.
Electrolux air dryer there. So yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week with a conclusion
Netflix Supersonic
of Vintage Week. Bye for now.